Hello, my name is Asia Wade, and I am in the School Social Work 6937 class at the University of Memphis. And today I'm going to be talking about the school law called No Child Left Behind Act. Before this act was in place, the way that schools looked like before then was that it didn't focus on any type of progress of the children that had a disadvantage than other children. So if they had any type of educational issues, if the school was in poverty, or if they were in poverty and didn't have the things that they needed to, basically enhance their educational background, they were the ones that were going to be left behind. So with this act, it was created in 2001 to try to close that gap between the students who, had those issues and students who did not. So, like I have already said, the No Child Left Behind Act is an act that was created that in 2001, but it was implemented in 2002. And with this law, it basically is something that was going to implement standardized testings in reading and in math for the grades 3 through 8 and when they get into high school. And with this, the students were expected to meet a specific criteria and everything, and it had to be done by the year 2014. With this bill, it was supposed to have the accountability for the schools. It was going to give schools more flexibility on how they use the federal educational funds and whatnot to improve their academic achievements. There were different research-based educations that emphasized on the educational programs and practices. And then there were more parent options that, it increased their options and their choices that were available for the students that were attending Title I schools. So I'm not sure if me in particular attended a Title I school when I was in elementary school or when this law was implemented, but I do know that I was in elementary school when this law was created, and then I was in high school in 2014. Me personally, I always did really good on my standardized testing, so I didn't really I knew about it, but I didn't know about it. So this typically would target students that were in poverty, students of color, students with specialized educational issues or backgrounds, and then those students who did not speak or read English as their first language. So that is how that was the target population. And this law changed the schools because this was something that was trying to help kids basically get their education together. So the schools had to adapt and do these standardized testings more often. And when they knew that there was a kid that had issues, they would have to go and help the kids with those issues and whatnot. A pro to this would be that, kids are actually getting the help that they need. A con to this is that, if they were falling behind, the gap was not going to be working and the standardized testings are not going to help. As of now, that law actually is no longer. The No Child Left Behind Act of 2001 is not even a law anymore. It actually was replaced with the new law of Every Student Succeeds Act. It is still the same act, but it just basically replaces some of the issues that had came about in regards to the No Child Left Behind Act. There are still standardized testing with these things, and it's still the standardized testing for grades 3 through 8 and then once in high school. But the difference is with this one, if there are kids with special needs and whatnot, then they will have accommodations for those tests so that we can easierly close the gap for that particular situation. These are typically going to be your students that have the IEPs or the 504s, but only 1% of those students can be given any alternative tests or anything. But essentially, the Every Child Succeeds Act is still the same as the No Child Left Behind. It just, eliminates some of the issues that the No Child Left Behind Act created. I feel like this is something that all schools need to ensure that they are making sure that they're doing. I feel that this is something that needs to continue to be done. I'm not necessarily a fan of the standardized testing simply because a lot of kids have test anxiety. So even if they're perfectly fine, educational wise, a standardized test is going to freak them out. So they may score lower. I feel like those types of things is just something that's not how you should measure what a child knows. There are different ways, but at the same time, because there are so many schools, these laws are something that should stay in place. And that's all I have to say about the No Child Left Behind Act. Thank you for your time, and you guys have a wonderful day.